All right, let's get right into it because, I mean, with all that is going on in the nation today, we're still having, Dirty December and all the likes. What does it really say about the spirit of Nigeria? Let's start from there first.
It tells you something very unique about the average Nigerian and the unbreakable nature of our spirit. Despite the many challenges that this country faces, we still find lines or situations and circumstances that make us a joyful people. There are unconfirmed researches that tell us that Nigerians are the happiest people on earth. So we always find a reason to be joyous, and Christmas is one of those major reasons why Nigerians will be joyous. So Dirty December has become a mainstay, and I don't think anything would change that, no matter how tight things get economically. I still think the Nigerians will still find a way to, in spite of everything that is happening, find moments of joy to celebrate with family and friends.
Yeah, well said. Now that we've come back to the real Christmas issue, Christmas is basically about rebirth, right? And so if Nigeria were to be reborn in a sense, the question becomes, what must die first? Should it be old ideas, old leadership, or old fears? What needs to die for this nation to be reborn?
I do not think we have a leadership problem, but that's at the top. We have a problem of fear. That's, also maybe largely at the top. The problem that Nigeria has, and the first thing that must die, is a paradigm. There must be a death to the current paradigm that we operate as a nation, and that speaks directly to your question. Old ideas must die naturally, because we've had changes in leadership again and again. This country was born in 1960. This is perhaps maybe the 12th, 15th leadership change that we've had, if you count military rulership as well. And we are battling and grappling with the same problems that we grappled with at independence. If you look at countries that have shared those problems and moved forward, Malaysia comes to my mind. What happened in Malaysia or even in Singapore was a deliberate attempt to shift the paradigm of the people. So you can only go as far as your ideas take you. So for Nigeria to have a rebirth, like you asked, the first thing that must die is the natural death of our old ideologies.
It's how then do we make this go away from the minds? I mean, those old ideas, because it almost feels like the old ideas are also still being instilled in the minds of the young people. So where does this orientation, how does it how do we revolutionize this thinking, the thought process?
Okay, so it has to be deliberate, it has to be concise, and it has to be direct. I dare say, and I've said this on many fora, that people my age, your age, my age, were a lost cause when it comes to changing ideologies in this country. Those ideas have been instilled in us so much that even if you go online, you can tell that there is a clear-cut divide within Nigeria along ethnic, religious, and political lines. What we must then focus on as a nation is the generation after us, those who are between the ages of 9 and 0. We must begin to deliberately, from our early child education system, begin to instill the idea of patriotism in these young ones, with the hope that they grow up with that ideology, believing in. If you ask my people in my age category what the Nigerian dream is, they don't even know what their Nigerian dream is. Somebody said to me joking that the Nigerian dream is to make enough money to jackpot. But we need to dissociate ourselves, or the generation coming behind us, from such ideologies and give them a foundation for nation building. Otherwise, when they grow to our age, they'll still be grappling with these same problems. And I hope that government, and maybe even from a family structure, we begin to instill the clear-cut ideas of nation building in our children.
In your own opinion, what then really is the Nigerian dream? I like the fact that you brought that up. What, in your opinion, is the Nigerian dream?
The Nigerian dream for me right now is to have a country that in 40, 50 years, I can be proud of to call my country, a country that my children don't have to suffer discrimination when traveling with their green passport. They don't have to seek dual citizenship out of necessity. It becomes a choice. If you so wish, there are people who are from well-to-do countries, we call them first world countries, who have dual citizenship, but it's not due to pressure. It's something you do out of your own free volition. As a Nigerian now, if you have a blue or red passport, it's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
My Nigerian dream is that we come to the death of that idea where the green passport is equally as powerful as any other passport in the world.
That's very powerful. Let's go into some of the, the whole Dirty December thing, When we talk about, party goers, flooding parties, Lagos, everybody's rejoicing, and other places you're having, those kind of insecurity issues. Have we become a nation now that is just making that compact? This place is for trauma. This place is so that's compartmentalized. What do you call it?
Compartmentalization.
Yeah. You want to just divide them into different spaces. One person is feeling the heat of insecurity. The other people are having fun. Have we become that kind of a nation?
I think human beings generally across from time immemorial have been like that. I'll point you an example. When the Nigerian Civil War was ongoing, there were places in Abeokuta in Lagos where people had no idea that the country was at war. If you look at the Gaza situation right now, Gaza is at war with Israel. But if you look at clips coming out of Gaza, there are still people having weddings and having some celebrations. So it is not a Nigerian thing. It's generally a human idea to survive. And it's compartmentalization at its very best. Because if you travel to certain parts of this country, you will not be having Dirty December. You know that you're putting yourself in shared jeopardy if you gather in such large numbers. You are putting a target on your back. But because you feel safe in Lagos, it happens. Like you said, in some parts of the country, there is clear-cut insecurity. And in some other parts, it's as if what's going on in the far north is not a reflection of what is happening in the southwest. And it's human nature, and it will always be like that. One can only hope and pray that the effort of government in tackling insecurity pays the right dividend so that this Dirty December is not for a very long time restricted to Lagos, and it can spread across the country. Because for me, it's a major money spinner for Nigeria. Nigerians travel abroad every year, whether for pilgrimage or for medical tourism or for whatever reasons, travel abroad and spend a chunk of money. If we can find a way to repatriate some of those monies spent abroad and bring them back to Nigeria, it boosts the economy. We can make an entire tourism economy out of that. And I think the Lagos State government is doing well enough. Like I said again, one only hopes and prays that government intensifies its effort and brings peace to these areas where there are disturbances, so that they too can tap into this and benefit from it.
Do you fear, though, that when we compartmentalize this, do you fear that it does something to our moral compass as a nation? Do you fear that?
Absolutely. Because the moment you start compartmentalizing, what you do is you are blindsided or unaware of the realities of some other people, and there's that tendency for you to become very selfish in protecting your own safe space, or to live in this imaginary bubble. When people talk about what they are currently
going
dealing with,
you don't feel it anymore.
You cannot empathize with them because you cannot imagine your life like that. And if we're not careful, like I said, these things will creep in on us before we know what's going on. So it's a human way of coping with trauma for you to
trauma coping mechanism.
Yes, almost indeliberately look away from the suffering of the other person.